I like that a lot. Hold on. Did you get your drink?
Yes.
What? The babe, there's nobody here yet. It's live, but it's working. I was making sure it was working.
Do you need something? You good?
I have it. I have it. I can't believe how quick they settle down.
When you turn that on?
Well, that and I had when I first turned off the lights, but then they have the brooding pads or whatever. They're all you know what I mean, when they're steadily down. Did you see their little house?
Yeah, that you put up there.
And there's one in there too.
You got those?
It was on clearance. Cool. But do you think they'll get in it?
Oh yeah, they have to. I didn't put the other one up there.
Okay. There's one.
I used them. They ran in there, so I could get them and put them up.
They're very cute.
Because I'm very smart.
You're very, very smart. I like it on this thing. We'll see who's here. When I scheduled it this morning, hey Melinda, when I scheduled it this morning, we didn't realize that quite as many chickens were going to hatch as did. But that's okay because
it's good business.
Yeah, it's not fun to when you only do that on eBay though. You can't bid on chickens. Okay.
All right, I'm going to our. Okay.
And find it.
All right. Icy says sup.
That's AK.
Yes.
Hi, AK.
Hey, AK. Marilyn's here. Melinda's here.
It's good to see y'all.
AK, I always tell this to Tragic, but I'll say it to you because you're in here. You're doing the Lord's work. Yeah. The Lord's work.
The more
and we appreciate you.
Yeah.
More than you know.
A lot. That was kind of like the buzz around the community was the whole answer the door thing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about that. Y'all, everybody's like, y'all can call whoever you want. You don't have the county right.
Here's the deal.
We're not in Dawson County.
There's a lot of people invested, putting the pressure on, and that's awesome and it's cool.
We're just not going to talk about what our
We're not going to talk about it.
Well, no, we can talk.
No, but my thing is the whole situation is like, what did they think was going to happen?
I don't know.
You can't fuck with everybody in the community that crosses you.
And probably it's not a good idea to do it to an investigative journalist who made their career.
I know.
Out of exposing and you know what I mean,
Let me sit up a little bit.
Does anybody know, and I promise people are like, we want a little bit of the drama. I will, but first I need to ask you this.
The Lord's work.
Is anyone, I'm going to talk about mosquitoes. Real quick. Other than off, what is something that works? Because they're biting like my ankles. I've never had a problem with mosquitoes before. Even other people get bit by them. Normally, I don't get bit by them.
I get eaten alive most of the time, and I'm not this year. Like when we're over at my mom and dad's house, out on that porch, they have a 3rd-story porch, like a wraparound porch, and it is like beautiful to hang out there. But I get eaten alive out there.
Did
Everyone else is just no. But we weren't out there that long, and we had the grill going.
I think last year, and I'm not even kidding, they didn't get any blood out of me, so they left me alone. No, that's for real.
Skin's so soft. That's true.
Skin's Melinda, so soft.
Yeah,
well,
I used it for ticks too. Ticks don't like. I know that. So
they don't.
And chiggers, in the woods, they don't like skin so soft. So that is something that was always in my army bag.
I had no idea. That's good to know.
It also makes you smell a little bit better when you've been in the woods for 10 days.
Yeah, but you whip out Skin So Soft, and people are like, what the fuck did you bring Skin So Soft?
When it's a bunch of combat arms dudes out there, no one's saying that. The downside of Skin So Soft is if you have to stay hidden, because it does give off a little bit of an odor, not much. And so if you're trying to hide, you can, but I guess it's better than smelling like rotten apple and stuff.
Hey Stitching, guess what else? Stitching, you'll like this. Melinda, you will too. Guess what hatched? The eggs Karen sent. She sent 5.
More than that.
6.
It was 6.
But 1 broke in transit. And I think the bright white eggs, which are the leghorns, I don't, it's an Australorp rooster and a leghorn mom.
Right.
Yeah, and so, hey, it's good to see you. Yes, happy Pride. It's the whole month, right?
Yes.
Pride month this month. Very cool. I noticed at PetSmart there was a lot of merchandise out.
Mama Ricky will know what I'm saying when I say this. It's undersexed, Queen, not oversexed. Those folks are undersexed.
Which ones?
Mama Ricky will know what I'm talking about.
Oh.
You will.
That's
She
interesting. Hey, Gina. Try eating more garlic. I've heard that as well. So it's so funny because I posted a short earlier of the babies. With, I'll let you read. I'm trying to see what yeah, they're everywhere. But okay, so I posted a video when it had What a Wonderful World. If you use it through YouTube, they'll post
Gina.
it. If you go through the shorts or whatever, like the short videos. But those are the ones that we have. And then in the second coop, we have quite a few, but there's people coming to get them because we're picky.
What about Karen's baby chicken? I can get
That's
one
what
of those.
I was saying. No, because they already went to night.
That's true. Mandy is very much doesn't like me to make a lot of noise at this end of the house.
Because when they finally settle and go to sleep, Elbow. I heard that Colleen Aloha posted channel number 15 of Elvis Travels gone.
Wow.
Isn't that incredible? Like they're not I'm glad. I am so glad.
Rich Life lost another channel too. That's good.
I didn't even know he was still around.
Colleen.
Hey,
Colleen
when
is
he
here.
was making his up and comings here in the community, people were like, "Who is this guy?"
I'm telling you, Rich Life had the perfect formula to go viral if he had any kind of personality at all, though. He did. He was out there. He had
a couple of vids
a couple of crazy people that he had with him. And he's one of the only people that we've saw live as he's driving get in an accident.
I found the video of he and Anna.
Oh, Anna.
When she was gonna go beat somebody up in the Walmart parking lot, and he was like, "You're gonna get arrested," and he was in the van. It was before he wrecked the van. He had a couple of.
He ended up leaving her in like Myrtle Beach, and a lot of
he
people.
He goes, "I left her crazy ass."
And a lot of people were mad.
Biloxi. He left her in Biloxi.
I thought
They went to Myrtle Beach,
and that was a great big episode there, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
She was like, he hurt his. So is he still driving the Lisa Marie?
Behemoth? You're talking about Elbow?
And then he was trying to get $20,000 for it at one time. He must have been trolling. Yeah. There's no way he would ever. So I do. You know what? I do put on lullabies on repeat for my chicks. That has a potential. Like if I put that on TikTok, like. Because they're all different kinds of chicks, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Put that with like lullabies and just footage of them playing in there.
I don't know why, Mama Ricky, you must have a word that's filtered out because I didn't hide that, and it says that another mod has handled it. And I don't know if another mod's here.
He wrecked it that bad, Stitching. Elbow wrecked the Lisa Marie that bad that. That's incredible. But yeah, I was like, you're not going to go grab the chicken out of the brooder. They're asleep. And then it have to settle again.
Yeah. I mean, Rich Life, going back to Rich Life, he went across the country to Rosie's for a while, too. Mm-hmm. Did he also met Elbow, didn't he?
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, so Rich Life was...
Wait, did he meet Elvis Travels?
Well, I know Elbow was out at Rosie's, too. I don't know if they were there together. He took...
You remember, Ricky? Crazy Anna?
Yes, and who was the one that he was out at Rosie's with? Was that Molasses that was out there?
Molasses.
Yep.
I wonder. Last I heard, she's with She's like with him.
I still sub to her on one of my channels, and I get notifications that she's doing stuff.
I hope she's still sober. I unsubscribed.
I mean, you can only. That will not go well for them, but you can only tell people, trust me, she'll leave when she's good and ready.
That reminds me, we found Sean found it. We won't promote him quite yet, so he doesn't get descended on. Hey, Hypno Man.
Yeah.
Someone that is going through a divorce he's a YouTube creator. I'll let you say with the narcissist.
Yeah, he's talking about. He doesn't have. He's got like 500 subs. And he doesn't get a lot of views yet. But he's talking about his mediation and his divorce from his narcissist, and it's really good. He's pretty honest about it. Now she is not on YouTube, so. But he's a channel and he talks about it. He has these journals and it's pretty cool.
And he said that today, even his, they're doing mediation. His attorney had to go talk to his like soon to be ex, and the attorney said, "Pray for me."
I know.
The attorney was like,
"Can you imagine that?" It's like,
and he goes, and I get it. He's like, I get it. Like,
yeah. Look. Ricky's not even getting allowed. I can't even show it.
I showed it. Someone else.
That one?
Yeah. Every time though that we have to click show, I have to the chat quits scrolling. I have to go completely out.
You can still pin it though.
Yeah, you can pin it. Not poor Wax Boss, but I have from way back. I had blocked her. Mm-hmm. I can't get her unblocked. I've checked everywhere. And so when I'm hearting everybody's, she can leave a comment on our stuff, and I go and heart everybody's. But I heart hers and it errors out. And she knows, because I've told her several times, I'm like, it looks like I'm flat, just ignoring it, but I'm not. I just can't. I think I can pin it though.
Yeah.
It's I don't know what glitches out with YouTube sometimes, but yeah, there's certain people you can't ever get them unblocked. I've heard other creators say that too.
It happens.
Sean, who's off work tomorrow?
Me.
Which dishwasher's broken?
Ours.
That's the beautiful part.
I have dishwashing duty.
No, but ladies know about this. When the dishwasher's broken, you're able to say, well, I can't cook because we don't have any way to wash the dishes.
It means a lot of wings and ranch dressing.
I know. It doesn't mean we're going to go to Longhorn every night. Hey, Luna.
But what else did we get? DirecTV.
We do have DirecTV.
I can watch the Braves now.
That's why you haven't seen us a lot. He can watch the Braves now on DirecTV.
We've had a lot happen. We've in our place, we've changed a water heater. We've changed one of those out. The dishwasher, we got DirecTV. It's a lot of life going on. Mm-hmm.
This is what's incredible about the hot water heater. So the other day when we were getting DirecTV, the guy was here installing it. There started to be this loud beep, like a electronic high-pitched beep, not like a smoke alarm, but you could tell it was some sort of alarm. And I'm trying to figure out if a clock is going off somewhere or what it is. And then I was like, well, maybe the DirecTV guy actually accidentally drilled into something he wasn't supposed to. And he goes, no, the second you went outside, it started doing it. So I figured out where the hot water heater was. It's in the corner of that room, took the screws off because it actually had a thing that was screwed on. And there's a little frog in there, a little electronic frog beeping. It's a leak detector, I guess, but at first I thought I was seeing things.
See, have a good night, Mama Ricky's got
have a good night, Mama
second oldest granddaughter has a birthday tomorrow. Yay.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right.
So they make a little frog that you can put in the closet with your hot water heater, and when it detects any sort of moisture at all, it's the alarm goes off. Our landlord put it there.
What he told me is on the bottom are two little sensors.
And they can
And when there's enough moisture where both sensors are wet, they go. It breaks the circuit.
There you go.
Yeah.
It was pretty incredible. So then he said since it was older anyway, he just replaced it. He said it wasn't worth trying to fix, and he replaced it. But the dishwasher's broken, and so he's going to fix it. Is this how we look
to everybody?
Well, it's a little bit clearer than
glitchy.
We see it.
Okay.
But it's not as, I don't think it's as crystal clear as this is. This is me now. I know you're not happy with our backdrop. You made that clear last time. I'm working on it.
Right.
I'm working on it. So in the meantime, you can just fuck right off. And then when I get it fixed...
I'm hitting her, rubbing her leg, and she's like, don't do that. Don't do that.
You can't, we can't. This is not that kind of channel. So they were saying that, but there was a comment that I saw while I was telling that, which I'm sure is a very boring story about the alarm, but if you have any issues with worrying about your, yes, Gina, they are bored with their lives. If you have any,
some people are,
any worries at all that it may break or overflow, you too can get one. But I thought, oh my gosh, what did I have for lunch that I'm looking at a frog, a little toy frog.
I know, but it was pretty ingenious. It's not like there was like some horror movie where some kid like left it and then you know put it on the other side of the wall.
I bet he puts it in all his houses.
Yeah, he when in the comments he was like, yes, that's a sensor, and I mean this is a dude that's got a ton of properties, and he's.
What's hilarious is this little garden thing I've put together. Nobody's quite as impressed with it as I am, but whatever. Do you know what? So after they do the hot water heater, I go out there and the old hot water heater is just set up kind of in the garden, like it's just it's a backdrop.
And that was on Friday.
Yeah, and he's
like, I'll come back Monday.
He goes out, and I was like, "What?" And Sean goes, "He's gonna come grab it Monday," and I'm like, in the meantime, we just. It's part of our decoration.
Fit in though.
But let me tell you what, I sat there and stared at it and tried to figure out what I could turn it into. That would be cute. There's nothing you can turn in old hot water.
You could probably turn it into like a robot.
I thought about keeping it so that if we get one of those outdoor sinks, because it's electric, one of those outdoor sinks, we can have hot water.
That would be a whole thing though, because we'd have to run.
But you could do it.
You could if you put in like another heating unit off the pipes where you could hook something into it.
You can definitely get like campsite hot water heater. Melinda says that her daughter replaced her hot water heater with the Casg Google. He knows how to. He learned from YouTube. He learned. Hey Presley, he learned how to do everything our landlord did from YouTube. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, y'all have a YouTube channel? No, we don't have one. When Mark says he watched it, no, we did. He goes, I said, oh, you watch everything on YouTube? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, we got a channel. And I was like, he goes, oh, that's cool. And I was like, we don't do how-tos.
we talk about our chickens, and
that's what I was saying.
Occasionally go down the rabbit hole with a bunch of bitches.
I was like, why do people have to, like, we were as content as can be just streaming about our chickens and, certain sexual innuendos and whatever. And I'm like, why do people have to come find us? Let us be boring.
Yeah, we're just boring. But the thing about it is other people, you can't take on the world and expect the world not to fight back sooner or later.
You just...
Right now, and I was really surprised about, I wasn't surprised, but I guess the timing was right for people to take the action that they're taking. Collectively. There's a bunch. And that's really the only way to attack stuff like this is to counterpunch with a lot of people. And that's it. That's how you have to do it.
Yeah. It's not worth the effort that it takes to avoid just a simple document. If you really would wipe your ass with it, then just accept it then. If that's all you want to do with it. Anyway.
It takes a second, yeah.
Like people say they'll do. They're like, you serve me with that particular type and I'll wipe my ass with it.
I mean, I went through a thing in my life where people were coming, this has nothing to do with YouTube or anything, and they were coming at me, and I had counsel, and I had, let's say, there were some favors called in, and this is all military related. Two things about it. The military redacts everything, so you're not really going to find the names or anything that happened. But as I was fighting this higher power that was trying to do stuff to me, the people on my side were like, retorting. And then what happens is all of a sudden another entity came from the flank, just came from the side. So while they're trying to fight one thing, somebody comes from this side, and they're like, oh, and then now they got to look at two different things. And then they come from another angle, and this is all different things. And after a while, they were like, I mean, how much is this worth it to, how much was I worth it to them or what all that? And it went away.
Yeah.
It went away. And that's.
I'm about to go see which one's peeping. But no, you're right. Like after everything's been done and you have your plan of action and it either works or it doesn't. But it's just not worth it. I'm going to find
Linda
the one.
Says, I love the military. Thank you. The military, my veteran status is, goes a long way here in this part of the country, and I'll never take it for granted. And I actually got in an like a friendly debate with, especially government jobs, state jobs, contracting jobs. You can line 3 people up, and they can all apply for the same job. And because of my military status in a lot of organizations, I will get hired, even without the college degree, even without being the best qualified. And I mean, I'll never, ever take it for granted. But that's why I tell my fellow veterans that are having a hard time and thinking that life isn't fair. It never going to be fair. But there's so much out there for veterans, you know, job opportunities, housing opportunities. You know, in my situation, tax breaks, property taxes that, you know, I don't have to pay, things like that, that if you just get better, you know, try to seek help mentally and psychologically for the stuff that we had to go through. I mean, 23 years I did, it's a long time. And then you tack on a fucked up relationship afterwards. It was a long time. And when, you know, you start to get healthy and you start to realize how much is out there for us and how many people in this country love us and respect us and honor us, you can do a lot more. I mean, there's a lot of, we're almost like a protected group.
Yeah.
You know, like you have groups that are protected by certain rights. The military hiring preference is amazing.
It really is.
And
hey Nikki, when I remember when I was a spouse of an active duty soldier, there's also something called spousal preference.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get to you can only use it one time per duty station, but when you claim it for those government jobs, whether it's, I don't know about the GS jobs, I think it's whatever you apply on within the things of host, you claim spousal preference. The only thing that can outdo it is a veteran. Like that's veterans preference, but just under it is spousal preference, and it's a good way to get jobs because the ones that the spouses don't take goes to the people, like it's local nationals overseas, but it's like the area people. But yeah, it'll send you to the top, and you can only do it once.
And the other thing about the military that I'll go ahead and say is that the things that happen to us in our career, you're not gonna find them.
Yeah.
They redact everything. I have things that have happened throughout my military career that I thought with everybody digging and everybody trying to figure out, a couple things might have come up, but then I understand that they redact that. And that's why a lot of people that have washed out of the military or didn't, you know, got chaptered out, you're really not going to find a whole lot about that, you know, because they redact that stuff too. And that's another good fortune.
That's why the Pat Tillman thing was so hard for them to get answers about what happened when he was, because so much of it is.
I mean, they will give you an event, like how much of a certain event that, you know, we know about. Let's just go at a macro thing, like historical events and wars and conflicts and things that go on. We know that happened. And I can raise my hand and say, you know, I was in Iraq. And okay, so everybody knows that there was Iraq. And I can even say I was in Sawyer City, and I can tell you the things that I've done, you know, but you're not going to, and there's whole books written about it. Like, the liberation of Sawyer City and Fallujah and Karbala and all that stuff. And there's good things that have happened and bad things. There are like war crimes that happen and really good things that happen all in there. And you're never going to know. Like some guy gets, like how many stories do you know, and they're out there, about Iraq and Afghanistan, about guys that are brought up on like war crimes? Because they happen and they continue to happen. But you will not see those in the news. You won't see them like you will some other trials and this and that. And it's extremely hard to find. Someone might be walking around, you know, out here that, I was in the Army for 6 years, and you don't know why he got thrown out. And I'm not saying everybody did war crimes, but whether they got chaptered out for like doing drugs or got thrown out for some other reason, you won't find that investigation. You really won't. What you'll see, like in their DD-214, you'll see a bullet with a certain type of discharge. That's it. And that's kind of a good thing too.
Yeah, no, that's there's no ifs, ands, or buts. The way that you left service is right there. Like there's no, it's not like there's no, like the details may be a little bit murky, but it's pretty clear.
You have like an honorable discharge, and other than honorable discharge, a general discharge, and then you have the really hard to happen is a dishonorable discharge. That's so expensive to do that.
It's very
and to
expensive.
process people out for that, and then they can turn around in 5 years and get it changed to you know.
And they will do it, but they mainly do it to make an example of something. Or if the media is particularly interested in a crime, they'll do it. But there was a guy that I knew that I worked with at the National Guard post, and he got out on a sole surviving son clause. And I think it started during World War II, where if there was two sons in a family, if one was killed, the other one can say, I'm the sole surviving son or whatever, and claim that, and then they can get out on that. And I think it was a lot because of farms and things like that, legacies. But he got out on that, and they told him it would be an honorable, and they put it on there as other than honorable. He had written congressmen. He had done everything trying to.
You gotta, like in my situation, you have to have a family member, somebody that knows people politically, and I have that, and that helped me out in my career to where I'm at right now. My military pension, my everything is pretty airtight, because of it. But I bring that up just because you think about everything that's going on and everybody in the drama community, and they're going for people, and they're using freedom of information. They're pulling up old stuff on Truth Finder that's not even true and putting it out there. And the military, which was 23 years of my life, ain't gonna find shit. You're gonna find nothing about it.
My husband built an outhouse for Martha Ray in Vietnam. Oh, I don't know who's that.
Martha Ray.
Who is that? An outhouse for Martha Ray. I want to know who it is. I feel inept. I don't know who that is. But yeah, they told this guy that it was going to be an honorable discharge, and it turned out to be other than honorable. And I was like, I didn't understand that even though it's not dishonorable, most employers, she tells jokes. Okay. That they do want to know why you had an other than honorable.
That's true. And so a lot of times when
administrative.
When I meet somebody and they're veterans, and they're very upset or disgruntled, I try to sit with them, and I try to, figure out what makes them, and I try to say to them, this is all the opportunities that we have.
Right.
And a lot of the times, when you drill down, it's because they got thrown out. And I'm not saying that for any other reason, is that because if they did their time 4 years, 6 years, 10 years, 20 years, and got out with honorable discharge, it's not hard.
No. And you can have it changed too.
I can at that point, kind of tell them, kind of talk sense into them and point them in the right directions for employment, point them in the right directions for housing and medical care and stuff that they couldn't normally get. When you can't, there's normally a reason. There's normally, it's like, well, just go, I can't do this, or they won't do it. There's normally a reason. There's normally, because they got thrown out or whatever. There's just too much out there for us. And in my case, I lived such a chaotic life. I couldn't, I was so busy taking care of other things, I didn't take care of myself. And then once I understood that and got with the right people, got the right people in my life, got the right partner by my side, you start to flourish.
Yeah.
That
was like one of the first things when we were just talking or whatever. And I think we started to cross over, but I was like, you can do whatever you want to do, wherever you want to work. But I was like, but you need to understand you can do anything. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, I don't understand. If you want to chill out and write or do whatever you can, but don't think that you cannot do anything. Because I mean, and I don't think he understood that at that time.
Gina, have a good night. She's saying good night, Mandy. I'm going to go to sleep.
Have a good night. It's like,
well, Luna, you know, any advice for people who see very bad things overseas and have very bad PTSD from it? That was me for a long time. If you're a person that has somebody in your life that has that, you got to love on them. I mean, you do. You've got to love on them, and you got to, you know, and that individual's got to like have some therapy. They have to find help. But really for the family that's around them, and friends that are around them, you got to love them. And, you know, unless they're doing really, you know, destructive things, and you still have to hold them accountable. The biggest thing that makes me upset with veterans, if they do something atrocious, you know, they commit a crime or they, you know, I mean, if somebody's homeless because of it, you can help them. You can love on them. If they're having a hard time communicating or whatever, you can love on them. When they go out and they start doing things like, you know, get loaded or their anger causes them to do violent things, and then they use, you know, the excuse, you have to figure out a way to love on them but still hold them accountable. You can't just walk down the street and do things because you have post-traumatic stress disorder. You're still accountable for your actions. And I'm telling you, I'm like anybody else. I have the diagnosis. I can show it. It's probably been doxed a few times.
There's a lot since like World War I and II and Vietnam. Therapies and different treatments have come a long way as well.
One thing that my wife knows about me is that she comes first in everything in my life. The only time that I might, you know, leave her in need of something is if I'm going to answer a fellow veteran that needs help. I'll stop what I'm doing and go and help them. And once you have enough people around you that you know will do that for you, and they trust you, then you can start. You know, you can rest assured if you start to slip, you've got people around you that you can call. It's important that they know that they have a structure, that, you know, that they have people that when they get scared or when they can't sort of figure it out, that there's other people that understand it. That's the biggest thing. That somebody with PTSD, the hardest thing, it doesn't have to be military related. It can be like a bad car crash or a rape or something like that, or, you know, watching someone that you love die in front of you, things like that. It's important that the hardest thing to do is to explain to people that don't understand or they don't think is going to understand. It's very, very frustrating. So it's important to find other people that have had similar experiences. You know, it's like somebody that says, you know, like my mother was a therapist, and she was not a drug addict. But there is something different between talking to a therapist and talking to another person in recovery. Correct?
Yeah.
It's so somebody with PTSD, they can be with their therapist, they can be with their family, but it's different when you're around other people that have, you know, the same diagnosis. I went to a place called Ward 8. You can Google it. Just Google Ward 8, and I went there for 6 weeks, and it's a VA ward for PTSD diagnosis because of combat. So I was there with a whole bunch of 6
weeks. I guess I thought it was 2 months. It's 6 weeks.
Well, I went like right at the beginning of January, and I came back like halfway through February.
Okay.
And it's so instead of having someone with PTSD because of like trauma, you know, like they were raped or whatever, this is all people that have, you know, there's Afghanistan vets, Iraq vets, Vietnam vets, all kinds. And so there was that. And that was kind of where I started but I had to get the other stuff out of my life. And y'all know what that was before I could really start taking care of myself.
Yeah. I mean, I know when I was in rehab, when you find out whoever's doing the therapies, or not like the personalized therapy, but the different groups you have during the day, usually the first thing most are like, are you in recovery? And there was ones that weren't, that you still, but you really were just like, you know. And what was more, when I was in one, even like the psychiatrist, like there was 4 psychiatrists and 3 were in recovery themselves. And you don't see that quite as often. But you know, when you're sitting there trying to hustle a hustler and they have a medical degree and they can know your bullshit, and you're just like, you know, but it does, when you find out that the person's one of you, then it's a little bit different. That's how the whole process works.
You know, so if you got somebody with PTSD, it's you know, and they're in your home or whatever, you have to love on them, but you have to hold them accountable. It's like somebody who's an addict. You love on them, but you got to hold them accountable. It doesn't mean just because you're an addict, it's okay if you go do this, like, you know, or you relapse. I hope that kind of
makes sense. It's
you know.
the truth. Like, that's the same thing. It's like with when I always wondered, like, when people were in AA together, whether they got sober together, or they met there and were together. It was always crazy when one would relapse, because there's so many different theories on what the right course of action is when you base, you know, like that, you know, hard boundary can be like, no, if you're gonna, so it's weird, because it's like there were some where, you know, a couple where one of them had a whole lot of sobriety and they would relapse, and the person wasn't just going to leave them. They loved them.
Yeah.
And then they, you know, it just was it's a changing dynamic, and there's no, like, you know, owner's manual to how that works. Like, what you're supposed to do or whatever. But.
Yep. And you know, while we're talking about this, that's why, when we, you know, Mandi and I were talking to somebody else, or Mandi was, that had gone through similar, like, drama stuff that we have been going through with people over the last few months. And, you know, it can be exhausting. It's this and that. But the one thing that relieves me is when people go for my service. I laugh at that. And it's similar for Mandi when they go for her sobriety.
Yeah.
You just see a comment there like, oh, she's definitely on something. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things wrong with us, but her sobriety is not one of them, nor is my military service something that I am worried about people looking at.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I feel like sometimes people in our community almost take pleasure when people relapse, or to speculate that they did. And I often wonder, well, if I came on here and said, yeah, I did, you know, been drinking for a week, there are people that would be like,
they would revel,
be happy about that. Yeah. Now, for all the shit I talk about Katie's dying.
Right.
She's dying. And like, physically, her body cannot do it anymore. And then I heard YouTube Reject talked about this too. Like, if you consider that karma, or you consider it, the universe making things, whatever you look at it, you're watching someone die, and they don't, you know. And I think sometimes when MFW will say, you know, it's like, y'all just want me to die, and it's like, no, definitely not me. And we've definitely, I have bad blood with her, and there's a couple of other people that do. Nobody wants her, that I know of, openly says that they want her to die. Mm-hmm. When she said, they said her, you know, her ulcers are not curable, and you know, they're giving her a hassle about the skin removal surgery, and she's this and that. Because they know the deal, girl.
Right.
They've seen your liver in science.
And you're not the first one. They know the deal. And she's not the first person.
No, your skin removal is not going to get you sober. It's not going to make you happy like you think it is, to the point that you don't need to drink anymore. You drink because you're an alcoholic,
right?
And you've admitted that. I used to drink because it was Tuesday. It could be the biggest trauma could happen and I could drink, but for me, it did not need to be that complicated. It didn't. It could be because it's Tuesday. It could be because I'm happy, I'm bored, I'm sad, it's whatever. And when you understand that's the nature of your own disease, that you've got a disease that tells you don't have a disease, which in that, that's so crazy but that's what it is. Your disease is
So we talk about Katie, and part of her, she's alcoholism, but she also needs to stare at a screen. She needs to project that out on people. And if those of y'all that have been around for 6 or 7 years or whatever, y'all remember when Katie kind of built a channel, and she could come on here with her bullcrap, because it's mostly bullcrap, and people would watch her. She'd get several hundred people in the chat, and they would watch her, and she kind of commanded a bit of.
People were scared to be drugged by her.
They were a little bit scared of her, and this and that. And then something started to happen, and we watched this toppling, but the one thing that she stayed the course with was putting everything on YouTube. And I say this, so if those of you that knew Katie 6 years ago to what's happening now, I'll just say it. Without saying names, we see in this history repeat itself with another person and another platform who built a channel off of being, a tough guy and being, with this MO, and people watched her and they kind of were a little bit fearful of her, and they don't want. And then we're watching this person currently falling off the YouTube thing too. We're seeing people now watch them like a joke. Like, I wonder how long this person's going to keep this bullshit up. And more people are seeing it and going, so there's an addiction there too, because they build this channel with 10,000 or whatever, 9,000 subs, and they get in there and a few hundred people watch them. And they go, ooh, wow, tough person. And then things happen, and they start to come down a notch, then another notch, and then some other people jump on, and they start coming at them, and they come down another notch. It's eerily similar without the alcoholism that MFW went through. It's the same type of rise using the internet, tough girl, and then people start to call them out, and then and the thing that stays constant is their need to turn on the video, and as stupid and as silly as they sound now, they're still doing it. And then people are still there for it. They're still watching it, and they just don't seem tough anymore. They just don't seem as badass as they used to.
No.
You see it happen. It happens over and over. There's people that happens to all the time.
Yeah. Like Shoe Nice.
Yeah, kind of.
Is Shoe Nice still around?
Shoe Nice built a channel doing blackout drinking.
And then he was very upset when they
and then YouTube came around and said, we're not gonna sit there and allow you. We're not gonna monetize you chugging tequila and then doing blackout videos and then coming. It
was Everclear.
All kinds of stuff. They were giving it. There was another guy called the Crazy Vapor, and he built the channel. People would send him things to put in his vape, and
like different
anything, just bugs and alcohol, and they sent Carolina Reaper for him to, and he's destroying himself
because it's going into his lungs.
Yeah. So 2 things got him taken down. The first one was he vaped bleach. Like they said, I dare you to vape bleach. So he put bleach in his vape, and he vaped it, and he had to rush himself to the hospital.
I bet he did.
It's like bleach kind of just like you can drown.
I don't know why would he do it, just because he liked to be,
because he was getting views.
One of those guys that ate 62 cloves of garlic one time. He was so sick, and I'm like, people do this.
And then so this guy vapes bleach, and then he shuts it down, and like 5 hours later, he's back on the grid. 5 or 6 hours later, after he's been to the ER, and
he's like, I'm back.
And they're like, you vape bleach, you idiot. But so that was the first strike. I think they took his monetization away for that, but they let him still stream, and they finally took him down for good because he had Carolina Reaper, and he was vaping Carolina Reaper, and he had like a 10 or 11-year-old grandson that was in the room, and they got a hold of the Carolina Reaper, and it got in their eyes and everything. No. and so this child was carrying on the live stream, and it turned into a vlog and all that, and was running to the to the shower and he was laughing about it and filming the whole thing for views. And I think when that happened, they took his channel completely away.
That is absolutely
and he's probably got in way worse trouble than we know about. But
I don't know. Look, so hey, Yoga Pants. I have to keep like completely going out. Like watch, when it freezes because of that, you have to completely close YouTube and reopen it.
Oh, when there's a hole to hide in the show thing?
Wow. And it's doing that. I don't know. I've tried deleting and reinstalling the app, and I don't know what's going on with it. But I just wanted to tell Sean because that's what I have to do to get it to catch up with itself. For those of you who don't know, Carolina Reaper is the hottest substance.
I think it's. I don't know if there's other like artificially manufactured stuff that they put in hot sauce. But it's like the hottest like natural pepper or something like that. I am
not into spicy. I get no thrill from my mouth burning. Some people love it. Like if it's not something's not spicy, they're not even interested in it. To me, it's much better now that everything doesn't burn. But I don't understand people like. My brother used to carry around that. Is it tilapia? What is that sauce called?
It's
Tipatio or something.
Yeah. Tabasco sauce. It was
something like that.
But it was the little jars they used to put it in.
He would take it with him to restaurants if the stuff wasn't hot enough, and he would add that to it. So I'm like, but some people. Spicy is what they like to eat. You used to eat a lot spicier than you do now.
Oh, but spicy to me isn't the same as spicy from a Texas girl.
Or like I heard the people from New Mexico, they can handle all kinds of stuff. Like their Sonics there put like those peppers on the burger. Standard.
Sonic?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Like standard. It's like a whole different ingredient.
When I met Mandi, 4 years ago when she was, coming to see me, we're figuring out what we both like to eat. It was, I like spicy food. And she's like, oh, I don't like spicy food that much. But I didn't understand what she considered spicy. Yeah. And I considered spicy. It was completely different. I'm like from the East Coast. And she's eating Tex-Mex and San Antonio and stuff like that.
But you're eating that.
And it's
I'm
completely, and something that's pretty mild, I considered spicy.
Yeah, that's true. That is absolutely true. I can eat salsa again, like at Mexican restaurants. Most of the time they're not super hot anyway, but I can eat it again. When I couldn't eat it because of my mouth, I couldn't even eat that.
Yeah, I mean it was getting. I'm so glad that we figured that out on so many levels. I mean,
your body reacts in such crazy ways to things, and I guess one of the ways like for anemia is it just makes your mouth super sensitive. The chronic dry throat. Mm-hmm. Isn't that weird though? And nobody really understood.
Eating ice, she would just be always needing ice. He was like, I'm gonna buy this bitch an ice maker.
I had to get my
ice
teeth
maker,
fixed.
and
like remember the soft pretzels? That's what I lived off of. I'm not into them anymore. Your body is crazy when it's deficient in some nutrient. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't think that if someone even on a dare vaped bleach that they should be.
If you think about when I first came onto YouTube, when you first logged on to YouTube, you could find whatever you wanted. Okay. There were, Shoe Nice for one, and Shoe Nice knew Mandi. Shoe Nice wasn't happy that we got together.
Well, he didn't really know me, but I used to.
Yes, he did.
He would know me to he didn't. We didn't.
You were mod though.
But we didn't talk like.
Well, I know it, but he liked you. Like you would come into the chat. Yeah,
he did. He did like me.
Everybody likes Mandi. It's incredible.
He would instead of doing bong hits, if you gave him a super chat, he would take his dog and snuggle him and say he was taking a hit of his dog or whatever. Oh. It was really cute.
But
he didn't but he didn't like you to begin with. He certainly
didn't like me.
He thought
he didn't like Tomahawk Sean, and then when you were by your married name with your she wasn't going by Mrs. ATX. She was going by Mandi with her former last name. He modding in his channel, and then it got to Shoe Nice that Mandi was with Tomahawk Sean, and
You went in there. You're like, hey, I'm with.
I said, well, I was a little bit more profane than that.
I remember one day.
I said, hey, shoe night. She's like, hey. I said, I'm, with,
He wasn't. He blocked you.
He blocked us both.
Yeah, I don't even know if he's still around anymore.
I don't know. I mean, they took away his life. He was entertaining.
He also I paid for a cameo for when Pirate and I were beefing. I paid him to say, "Hey, Pirate, eat a bag of dicks," and he did. And he did it, and I played it.
This girl right here, I could, and I won't, but I can throw out names of people that are on YouTube. Like that have a lot of subs, and they knew who she was, and they It
always feels good. I'm not saying, I know, like whatever, but if I go into someone who's got a decent number of subs,
you go into someone that's got like, how much did that one guy have? He had millions, didn't he? No, a few 100,000 maybe.
Which guy? Oh,
yeah, right.
You could, you can say it. Onision.
So
it was way back when.
Slides into this one's. It's like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah, I liked something of his. This is before everyone knew what he was like.
Yeah.
And I thought some of his stuff was funny, and I liked something, and he sent me a DM.
Yeah.
And I was like,
so
I ignored it because I was such a good girl then until this one walked into my life.
I know.
And then I was like, let's do this love thing. I was ready to ride the rest of my life not knowing love. And then I was like, I got to go.
But I was a little bit impressed. But the one thing that I always say, and I know I'm biased because I'm with her. There's a lot of people, Luna? Especially in the drama community, that give Mandi so much power. They give her, like... At first, I was like, you were part of, some fuck shit. And she was like, I wasn't, though. I wasn't. And you look at the stuff and the people in the drama community that are constantly going for Mandi. And it's like they give her so much. She's the reason that everything bad in the DC happened.
Yeah.
Every event, she was victimized. Like, she was the one that was the mastermind of everything, and it continues with stuff.
And the funny thing is the people that truly know me, that they know that first of all, my memory doesn't last a real long time.
No.
But secondly, that I'm and I'm not saying, that I wasn't a bitch. I'm not a bitch. I'm not saying whatever. But my life is pretty simple as far as like, But
it was like and the reason, and this is my opinion, is because, she's gorgeous.
Sorry,
she's a gorgeous woman. And she comes into this this community, this drama community full of, so many people that have just like ugly personalities, and they're just sad, and they're mean, and they form this community. You know them. A lot of these people still have platforms, and they're never said anything nice. They're always going. They're always gaslighting. They're doing this and that. And this one comes in and starts, showing up on the panels, and she's hot as fuck, and they're like, and they don't like it. So anytime something went wrong, it misses ATX and blah 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 blah. And anytime someone knows something or something happened, ATX, it's just like it's been for years for this one. It's been going on and on. It's kind of funny.
It's like, especially when. I don't mind being called shady because every motherfucker in the drama community is shady. That's what we do. Like, that's what we are. Like, but yeah, no, I did, Luna. I ignored it when he sent me a DM about Onision.
Yeah.
And then, and when it started coming out, the grooming and all of that.
And when I met her, and I almost
it
came
had
off
just
like
started.
It almost sounded like I was jealous or whatever, but I was like,
he's a
that
creepo.
one, and she's like, yeah, this guy, and I was like, he's bad news. He's a piece of shit.
And he asked how old I was.
Yeah, asked how old she was.
DM, he said, you look good. How old are you? And I was like, not young enough for you. No. But yeah, like that's, there's a couple of people that but I wasn't on Dr. Phil.
No.
That's what he said today. Like when he was watching that guy that was because it's rare to see them talk about a man who's going through it, talking about his narcissist.
Right, we're talking about this channel, the Narcissist.
This guy doesn't even say she. He calls her his soon to be it.
Yeah.
And I don't that's what I don't know if a therapist recommended or what, but I said, Sean, you just need to go under in his comment section and just put the link to Dr. Phil.
Yeah.
And I was like, but the thing is, like, and that was a joke. I wasn't serious. But the thing is,
I didn't do that.
Then he's going to come look at our channel and be like, what the
fuck? And then he'll figure out something that's wrong in his life and go, that ATX bitch did that to me.
Yeah, he did.
You know?
But the things that he said that I didn't realize were a thing, like the withdrawal and all of that. That was like textbook. And it was nice to see a dude going through it.
The thing that I got,
I don't comment on
that when I just listened to him and the way he was talking, I knew what he'd been through.
Yeah.
And just the things that he said, he was like...
He goes, I just want to be rid of her.
He was like, I can't... It's like, no, it's... Because when you're truly done with it, it's just like nauseating after a while. And because of and the one thing that he said that I was like, yes, hammer hitting the nail on the head is... They won't feel that. They don't understand peace. They don't understand getting out of something.
They don't know love.
And recovery and finding life and living life different because that's just the way they are. They don't have the ability to self-reflect. They don't have the ability to look at a situation and they have never lived differently. They've never lived like a non-toxic, like a truthful, nothing about them is honest. There's no integrity. And this was coming out of his mouth. And I was like, yeah, this dude's
and they don't
not only has he been through it, but he's learned.
They don't give a shit being classified a narcissist.
They don't.
They'll gladly take the thing of a narcissist as long as you're not calling them fat, ugly, old. You can call them a narcissist.
You can call them whatever you
long.
want as long as you're supplying them with the kind of supply they need at the time.
Yeah.
They don't care.
I personally think being a narcissist takes way too much energy.
And that's the thing. And they don't understand it, though. They don't understand it. They can't look at anybody, not a friend, not a coworker, not anything in their life and say, look how this person has, has bettered themselves because they're sober, or they've bettered themselves because they've stepped out of this environment into this environment. They don't have the ability to know the difference because it's their life all the time. That's their hardwiring in their brain all the time. Yeah. And so I'm listening to this guy like, I'll watch him.
Yeah. And he's funny because he's sitting in his car. He just finished a mediation session. Oh my God. And he's talking about it and he's like, so the answer is, should you go into mediation with a narcissist? Absolutely fucking not. But if you have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think they have kids together or anything. It's just the person. Mm-hmm. And remember that email where to Chris to the legal thing. I want to go into mediation. Yeah. Remember that?
Yeah. Never like.
You're like, mediating what?
What are we mediating? It's a. But anyway, this guy.
It was funny.
Is a good channel, and I hope it grows. I mean, he has way more subs than he gets views, and that's.
It's weird.
But no, it's because a lot of people stumble across it. If you put like hashtag like narcissist or whatever, you're going to come across it, and it's interesting.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting to see him tell his stories and his story times and things like that. And hey, I'm like it just. But it's funny because at one point when he goes, I just wish it would go away, and he goes, and by it I mean my narcissist. He's like, I just want it. He doesn't have a gender. He goes, I just want it to go away.
There's no pronoun. There's nothing. And that's kind of what it is because once you are fully done with the trauma bond, and once you've moved on, I mean, you can still be in some fuck shit. I mean, you can still sit there and go on YouTube and whatever. But when you're done with that, you look at it and it's just it isn't shit. Mm-hmm. There's nothing to it. The people around you might still be interested. Oh, look at that. They weren't in that fuck shit with you. Mm-hmm. They weren't in the same thing with you as you. To them, it's still like amusing to watch. But once you get done with your narcissist,
it's no
there's
fun
nothing.
Anymore,
yeah,
no. It just kind of, you look at it and shake your head. And I did with my first boyfriend. I remember that when it finally, that turmoil ended, that toxicity ended. I remember just for a while being like desperate for the craziness to come back.
It's a trauma bond, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like. Well, finally, it takes what it takes, and finally I was like, you're not going to come home from college and use me anymore.
Yeah.
You know what? You broke up with me. You're not going to keep coming back. And then, it's high school or whatever, but I do remember that. I remember being like...
And it'd be super tough for you because you have such an addictive personality, too. Yeah. I mean,
Well, and I remember thinking, why am I not good enough? That's right. Why does he want to go to college? And what about me is not... He said he wanted to get married, and then there's just all this other stuff that goes along with it. But finally, when you're done, you're like, you're not gonna use me anymore. Yeah. And then you have to be done.
Yeah.
And that was no contact for, how old am I now?
Didn't he come out of about a few years ago? He came back and was wanted to be all apologetic, but still, that's just
he was making amends. I could tell what he was doing, and I was like,
and maybe but if he's a narcissist, he's still testing that supply to see what it's.
When he did it, and he's like, call it catharsis, call it whatever, and I was like, dude, we were kids, you're good, and that's how I ended it. Even though that is not. That's really putting
that's kind of the best way to.
But that's what amends weren't for me. They were for him. Yeah. That's how the program works. So I could tell he was working some sort of program, and I was like, whatever.
He can work a program all he wants, but if he's truly a narcissist, he's gonna learn to use that program to get supply however he's going to get it.
Who reminded me exactly of him is Scott Peterson. When Scott Peterson was on trial in those interviews and things, that's exactly who it reminded me of. And I have no doubt that to get out of a fuck shit situation that he didn't want to be a part of, he would absolutely do that to take care of.
I think that, and I think that when I look back at it now, I was watching this trial, but I was in a different relationship. Was the Jodi Arias trial.
Yeah.
I see the Jodi Arias stuff so different than I did when I was in a bad relationship. When I'm in a narcissistic relationship and you're watching it, it's totally different than going back on YouTube and watching Jodi Arias now.
Is she, she obviously is in prison.
Mm-hmm. And still working people, apparently.
She's the one that said the ninja killed him, right?
I don't remember it exactly, but she's
not a pretty girl. I remember when she colored her hair blonde for him, and I was like, that picture sticks out in my mind.
But even when the cameras in the interrogation room, she would be under questioning or whatever, and then they would leave the room. She'd be doing handstands. She was off in another world.
Really?
She was just on to the next thought.
Can you give me that lip gloss? That's one thing I'll never understand. How come these people that are in these interrogation rooms when the cops go, I'm going to go get a cup of coffee, I'll be right back. They do all kinds of crazy shit.
A lot of times they confess.
The camera still, or they'll one guy was trying to cut his fingerprints off.
The thing is they catch so many people by saying we'll be back, and then they leave the room. If you watch enough YouTube, if you watch enough documentaries, they're filming. There's sound in those rooms.
They always try to get you. They try to get you on the phone with a parent because most of the time you'll admit to a parent
or some significant other.
If the parent says, "Just tell me what happened," that's the Petito. Yeah, he admitted to his dad, didn't he? No, not Petito. Who was it that?
What was the one we were listening to where or maybe it was me. No, you're the one that always finds these, but I was listening to one.
Not lately. I've been watching Cancer Diaries.
I was waiting for when I was
Carlos
doing my colonoscopy or whatever. I was watching them, and there was a person that they killed this kid, and it was 4 other teenagers that were involved. I think the oldest one was 20, and it was this love triangle, and the kid ends up dying. But they got all the confession they needed because they put 3 of them in a room, in an interrogation room, and just kept them there for 4 hours. And just they started talking to each other about it. This is bad. Yeah. I'm not going down. And they more and more.
Cellmates a lot of times.
All they did was sit in the other room and listen to them for about 3 hours. And then put them all in a separate room and said, we heard everything that you guys said in the last 4 hours. Wow. It's how much I'm thinking if I ever get into something like that, and they put me in a room, I ain't saying a damn thing to nobody.
No.
Especially when I'm by myself.
But like, I could see how like certain people in your life, like if I had done something, made a horrible mistake, and they were like, "We're gonna leave the room if you want to make a phone call," or had my dad call, and I'd be sitting there. Of all the people, I would be like, "Just tell me." I'd be like, "Yeah, you know what I mean?"
Knowing that they're going to hear it.
Yeah, like but that's how that a lot of
I would rather give a confession to you.
Yeah.
That they can hear, then give a confession to them.
And they do sometimes on the phone.
Yes.
And I'm like, they're tapping your shit.
And then they come in and they go, okay, well, we heard everything that you just said. And
they're like, oh, shit.
They're like, well, I need a lawyer. You get a lawyer.
Or they can say, I heard everything you just said, even if they didn't hear any of it.
Right.
And then
right.
Okay, so do you remember The Glamorous Life?
Yeah.
She passed away.
Whoa.
Yeah. I don't know a lot about her. I know she was and I remember she DM'd me a few times a couple years ago. I did not know she passed away.
I
don't know.
Happened?
Carlos said, yeah, I agree. If it involves kids or anything like that, they should beat you with a rubber hose until you admit to it. That was a side note talking about getting people to admit.
So The Glamorous Life, that's when we were in Texas. So wasn't that little? I think that's where was it before that even?
I don't know I don't know a whole lot of, like I said, about her. I remember she sent me a few DMs and she was very nice. Mm-hmm. And she had quite a few Twitter followers. Mm-hmm. But she was white, I guess. And
whoa.
Carlos, how did it happen? Oh, maybe a heart attack. Oh, wow. That's awful.
That sucks.
You know who's not doing well? Bergs.
Really?
Since Jill passed away, I think he's not doing great. They had a kind of a crazy relationship, but I never got into watching the Bergs because I didn't understand the
he wasn't in our community. There's I liked watching. I mean, he was okay. Berg was okay to watch, but he was sort of really desperate for attention, though. I mean, I guess any of us that do this, on a certain level, we all want a little bit of attention because why would you? I mean, I want the attention a lot less than I used to, but I guess everybody that tries to make a platform work, they're not doing it for nobody to watch.
That's when people, yeah. The one thing that I'll say about Voight, and it's similar to how the drama community used to be, is we used to have our infighting and there were people that didn't like each other, but when it came down to it, we were all each other's fucktards. You know what I mean? Like that's so it was like
and Mandi and ATX got blamed for everything.
Yeah, we could band together if it came, and Voight's a lot like that. They're like, look, we may hate each other and have our things, but don't mess with them. The drama community isn't like that anymore.
And I think the one thing that the drama community
so sad
is we still stay in touch with some groups, stay in touch with one another. And really, if you look at the drama community, there's platforms that watch stuff, and there's platforms that hold people accountable for certain things, and there's ones that don't.
Yeah.
And the ones that don't, that kind of tiptoe around everything, the other ones kind of still talk to each other and go, that's what they do. They don't ever take accountability for anything. And
I've always kind of wondered, like, for a while it was the I'm sorry train. Until they apologize, I'm not gonna. And if you know anything about child development, apologies are not their lip service. I figured out it's not. Sometimes they'll peep like that if they're trying to figure out where the other group is.
Yeah.
It's on the sound machine.
Oh.
So when I kept trying to figure out which one must have been wandered away or whatever.
And
anyway,
and then every once in a while there's a pig noise in there. And
but it really does calm them down because it sounds like adult hens.
But what I heard about baby chickens,
around true crime.
Babies really raise hell when they're cold or they're hungry.
Yeah.
Cold and hungry is the two biggest things.
Well, ours are never hungry because they're
rarely cold.
I cleaned their bedding out today too. The water leaks everywhere. You're right. Carlos says Glam was around the true crime. Mayor's daughter said she was sorry to hear about Glamorous, right? Glam was around the true crime.
I heard Glamorous Life kind of knew Laura a little bit.
Yeah, I think I used to confuse them way back when.
I did too.
But a lot of us were not allowing Glam in because of her past, but it's sad to see that she passed. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's sad that like the drama community would shun anybody because there's people in the drama community that are just awful. And it's like then they're like There are drama communities, yeah, but they're awful.
There's a few people that would
they're
classify
awful,
me.
it's like...
There's certain. I like how Sean always has to. Anything that you say, the people will be like, he acts like it's a freaking like world event because he's got a job, and then you'll say something else like, oh yeah, you know, whatever, we got a pretty nice chicken coop. Oh, he acts like he's the king of the world because I'm like, I
love those comments. Someone like, left a comment,
and sometimes he's trolling. Like some of his vlogs that he does, I can watch and know that when he's like,
I'll say certain things about like my work, and I can say, all right, I'm going to say this,
kind of blows it out of proportion, like
he's a little bit, and then I can roll like 4 names off the top of my head that are going to get pissed because I said it.
And I never knew that about him, like, until I started, like, he vlogged again and watched, and I was like, oh, he's totally, he's trying to see who he can.
I'm trying to remember where I saw it, and somebody left a...
Who's the one that said you think you're so cool because you have a job?
I think that was that Arsenic Angel person. And now, and so this person tweets...
Hat man.
Yeah, and... What a fucking loser, man. So this person goes, they go, yeah, that's Sean. He's a 53-year-old man that thinks having a job is a big deal. Exactly. And it's like, yeah.
He's like, you don't have to get up as early as I do. And my body hurts.
Like, having a job is kind of a big deal. You know, it's like.
Yeah, exactly right, Mary. Mayor's daughter, one time, so I've been watching these cancer journeys. Mayor, do you remember another YouTuber who passed away? I think she was married and she had brain cancer and they did a live funeral. Do you remember that? And it was like a recorded, but you were in the, I think she was it was so strange because it was like the opposite side of YouTube, but I saw her giving her condolences. This has been a couple years ago. I just kept forgetting to ask her. It was not Cat. I'm just saying that but I thought maybe it was a married couple, and the female, well, they're both female, but she had like short hair and she had cancer, and hello DC, yes, they isn't that crazy?
It is. If you look over the last half a dozen years, because for me, I guess 2017, the middle of 2016, so the last 6.5 years or so, 7 years, quite a few people that have passed away that have crossed our paths, and they were either in the community as a fixture or they were in somebody's circle. It's a lot of people, and it goes to show. First of all, it shows our demographic. We're older, you know, we're older, so there leaves a lot. There's a lot of people. There's a person that's close to my work that has been around professional wrestling, right? And way back, like in like the 70s and 80s. Well, because of where I work, and they come in, they want to do stuff, and he's kind of leaned into this community a little bit. He doesn't talk much, but he's funny because he's like, so you guys have this channel and all this stuff, and you guys aren't like young people. Most of you guys, 40s, 50s, 60s, like, yeah. And he's like, and you guys have these names. Like, you're Tomahawk Sean. This is Mrs. ATX. It's whatever. It's like, so you kind of, the big difference that he said, and I'm not going after anybody for this. I mean, because there are some people, but the people that have kind of names that they use in social media, that's not their actual name, kind of have, you know, they have a grasp on, okay, so I'm going to be whoever. I'm going to be Mrs. ATX for this, but I'm Mandi Curley. It's kind of a different, you know, it's kind of, and he's like, it's just like, you know, it's a show and it's entertainment, but there's a lot of people out there that don't understand it from like real life. And you even have, and it's like, it's bad because you have actual people that are going real life.
Yeah.
And they don't understand it either. You know, they're like, so they go real life. They have forgotten the entertainment side of it. The entertainment side and the real life side gets blurred. And it was excellent perspective listening to this guy because when he was a teenager, he worked in like the WWE, you know, on a really low level. And he's still to this day, if I threw out a couple names of people that he was kind of in their camp.
I was like, Sean, you meet everybody.
And so I'm talking to this guy, and he's like, yeah, and he's a really good dude to know because he has such a perspective when it comes to like entertainment. So yeah, it's I meet a lot of people through my work because everybody needs mail.
When he was
everybody needs their mail
I
done,
was
you
like,
know?
how in the world did you meet someone who does that? And what's he doing at the post office? And he's like, because I'm old enough, I need to get a job, get a retirement,
because he's older now, and he's like, there's no pension in that.
No.
So I'm going to work here it's a good paying job, real good paying job. You get through all the hurdles and the security checks and stuff. Hard to get fired from. It's very, very hard to get
when
fired.
all that shit was going on, Sean was like, God dang, man. And I was like, you should. There was a couple of things that we pondered but didn't. One was the real life reborn baby.
Yeah.
That we were going, like, that those ones that look so real or whatever, and we were going to talk about, however and see how long it took to CPS to come to our door, because that's some fuck shit. That's some fuck shit that people would do, and it's fucked up, and it's whatever. And to be like, are you gonna prosecute this one because there is no child?
There's no child.
This is what they
real.
saw. We've
that's
obviously not hurt the child because it's not real.
Yeah.
There's no footage, no anything. And then that was one of them. But then we thought better of it because it was like someone will say that we're whatever. And then the other one was he was thinking about resigning way back when, and he was going to. You were going to be like, well, I'll be damned.
I'll be damned if I'm going to resign and find. They'll say I got fired.
Yeah, I was like, and he was going to be like, well, we went to the soup kitchen.
Not only did I keep the job because it was kind of like go ahead and try to get me fired,
And that was really, and that was another reason we didn't do the reborn baby thing, because it's not fucking funny. Like people are calling CPS on and traumatizing children and it, don't get me started.
I don't think it was ever a real possibility, but the scenario was very possible. The funniest thing, I don't know how much longer we're going to go, but the funniest thing is like in the last month, somebody on their live stream was saying, if Sean and Mandi come after me with legal action, I'm going to get his job involved. And people were going, you've been saying his job's been involved since last October. Do you forget that you already said that 7 months ago?
When they were like, said that you would, like, this is what I didn't understand. I was like,
okay, again?
So you were going to leave the post office in handcuffs. That's what they said. But then they said I was going to be in handcuffs.
Right.
Why was I going to be in handcuffs?
Just because you're a bitch.
I'm like, why would I? Like, whatever. And it's like, hey, Anna Nicole.
But it was back in, this is like the end of October, or it was before Thanksgiving, when we were going to leave in handcuffs, and then
we were still doing our Halloween backdrop.
Yeah, it was November, end of October, and then when it was addressed in like January.
Yep.
It takes a long time to do these investigations. Okay, so I guess it takes longer than 2.5 months.
And they didn't even understand what they were reporting because the system doesn't do that.
It doesn't do that. So now it's June. So May 5th, whenever it was, somebody was like, Sean and Mandi are doing this. And so it's like, well, if Sean and Mandi do this, they better not, because I'll get his job involved. And it's like, again, you're going to, how many, you're going to, because you've already threatened the job. Mm-hmm. You've already done that.
And then when you were talking about the
July, August, we're 9 months ago.
When you were talking about the W name, and you were like, he and I get along, but whatever, because, you and your boy. Yeah. And they were like, I wonder how they would like to know that you were talking shit about him. And Sean's like, call him and
tell him. There's like 3 of them that watch, and they're like, oh my God, those are some fucking idiots over there.
The one thing about Sean that this is the honest to God truth, and the only person that I've ever known that has this kind of esteem is my dad. And is people, there are very few people that don't like Sean, and most of them are on the internet. Anybody who works with him in real life or interacts with him or ever has thinks that he is there's something about him. He's a good guy. And my dad's like that.
So Mandi, we'll be out. First of all, thank you for that.
Love him.
And I've worked in this community. I'm going on to my third year, right? So I see people everywhere I go. Mandy's like, Sean, we don't have a lot of time for you to sit here and talk about what you did.
I started going, okay, we're gonna pass by
comes.
This person. We don't have to. We can just say hi and
they're waving. Sean, they're waving. No, Sean, come on. You have 5 minutes. You can't sit there.
Speaking of, today I was at PetSmart buying the cat food, and I thought I recognized her voice, but the person in front of me is the girl that does my hair, and she was holding she was with someone else that was there, and she was on the phone, but she had been saying she was going to get a puppy, and the girl that was with her was holding a chocolate lab puppy. And because I hadn't done my hair and it was just thrown up, I didn't want to say hi because I was like embarrassed for her to see like that my hair Anyway, I'm curious if ladies, do you ever feel like, so she didn't see me and I didn't say anything because I thought she's going to see that, I pay this money and then all I do is just tie it up or whatever. And it was like, it's going to be awkward or what. I'm like, it's really not that serious.
It's not.
No.
So, and our friend Clara here is like, it's the gaslighting. It's the lies and gaslighting. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I just want to say that Wendy V, do you guys watch her? Their video she did the other day about gaslighting. And because Mandy and I will do this. We'll sit there and we'll watch a stream. And especially people in the drama community, and if we're watching it, there's a couple that we do. No, but the one that they had the video of what's her name, he goes, because that's what you do. Remember that one?
That's what you do. Oh, I do remember.
Yes.
I
it's about gaslighting, and this person's like, so watch this video. They did a video review of a couple of people arguing. And someone's accusing the other one of gaslighting, and it is, and they're getting called out on it on the video. And so Wendy V is reviewing the video, and she's like, "It is, yes, it is. It's so funny. She's funny. I think she's funny.
She can't stand me,
right?
So
and it just
there's no. But I'm just saying she doesn't like me. But she does her Friday streams. Yep. She knocks a few back before she does it.
And she's on the other side of the world too.
She only does them on Fridays. Right. She gets her fuck shit done on Fridays.
So so when you're watching this video or whatever, or this vlog, and I don't get to see it live because I'm usually not home, she's got it wrapped up by about 3 p.m. It's 3 a.m. where she is, and she's pretty fucked
when
by then.
They start getting pissed off and going live to talk about her thing,
she's already in bed.
She's already
been passed up.
But this last time she did go on Saturday because they said so much shit about her.
It was funny, and like I said,
it's like not my monkey, not my circus. But when they go at it, it's like
see, and it just goes to show, like for Mandy and I, we might tune if somebody says this happened. Like we don't watch Sam, we don't watch Yaba, because they're just
this ties into that.
But it does tie into that.
No, but what Clara said.
But the thing is that there are other people that aren't part of the current fuck shit that don't like Mandy and I, but they're funny. So we'll lurk and we'll listen to it.
And they'll talk shit about me. It's sometimes I turn on people that I'm like, and I'm not saying I'm all of this. I'm just saying that I'll turn it on and it's a random person and they'll be talking shit about me. And I'm like, well, if you have to be good at it.
Mandy ATX is a very powerful person that goes back. If there's something that happens like Pizzagate, they're gonna blame it on her.
Yeah, and
Suboxone Gate, they're gonna blame her.
How the fuck did the pizza get turned around on me? That was the whole thing.
I'm surprised they didn't blame the whole St. Jude thing on you.
I know.
Somehow.
It's
okay, when Life Perplexed, that was Mandy's fault. There was a stream. Again,
Life Perplexed didn't say it was
not you, but when you started talking to her, when you started talking to Clara, the ATX, it's like it's like
never say I'll get you the good.
She has such a power.
Ever say that. But
she's such a powerful woman.
Listen to this. So Clara said, Yaba this is true, and I don't know if you knew about this. Made a huge 24 hours because she was convinced I was going to their house. She damn near gave herself a seizure because I drove to New Albany to order a transcript. So this is she was like when DC literally went to New Albany to get a transcript, but because they come up with this bizarre shit in their heads,
so fucking bad for each other.
But they spin each other up, and I'm like, why would she announce that she's coming to your house? You know what I mean? Like that's like when people are like, I have guns in every room.
You're
like, well, Why do you need one in
Why
every
do you need one in every room? You better fucking get rid of a couple of them because you're with another freaking imbecile.
No, she didn't say that, but someone said that. Oh, Miami wants to hire me.
I know. We're moving.
I gotta.
But so then someone floats me a Twitter from Sam where she's like, she names off all these counties of people, and
it wasn't even my county.
She didn't even get the county right.
It wasn't my county.
We were like, these two.
Hold on, I want to see.
They need to figure out something because you're starting to, when you hear the sound bites, you hear the other one in the background. They have got themselves so convinced
I thought they had sped it up. The people that were
she was just
both of them together. I thought someone had sped it wasn't. It was just them.
They're like, oh my God, they're like a couple of farm animals just bleeding away.
They're not. They're bad for each other.
They're bad for each other.
Many ways,
they have got each other convinced of so much fuck shit. First of all, just put the pipe down for a couple days. Just clear your head. Because it really, you've made it serious. You guys have made it serious by the bullshit that you're doing to others. And even though everything that you think's gonna happen to you should happen to you, I mean, it is amusing. Everybody is just leaning in, going, look at these two bitches losing their minds, man.
And there's several reasons why Clara wasn't the one. Because number one, you're now fucking with her family, birth or no birth. That she is a part of that family unit, and therefore she's the mama bear. But beyond that, why would you fuck with an investigative journalist that was a producer for years? I mean, why would you mess with someone that can spend their time constructively delving into the entire...
There was only one thing. There was one thing that held that back. We know it from our friends, and that was resources. When the resources are there, it gets ugly. And that's everybody. When people get a little bit of resources, they can do things. And
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like if you know, you know. But
I told
it was only a matter of time.
I told Clara, I said, you need to read that transcript Vice style. Remember when they read all 30,000 pages of the Russia investigation? They took turns for like 3 days straight, Vice did, trading off and just reading page after page after page. I was like, I'll volunteer to read one part. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you got to get some actors involved so that because the reality is the shit that was said when she went, when Yaba took Negs to court, or the other way, I don't know. Yeah, when she took, she's now lying about what she said, the answers that she gave. And
that's how it is.
So we've often talked about getting the transcript, like from the divorce
Do that
stuff
again.
And whatever.
We've often.
No. I did that on purpose.
I know.
not for any reason other than to get it out of my face. Anyway, so we've talked about it. All of the transcripts.
I mean,
way back from like all the way back.
I mean, so I'm sitting here, let's say, for the last 10 days. Mandi and I have done very little content. We haven't been live. But we're still being talked about. And every once in a while, I just pick up my phone and I kind of look at what's going on and I go, The last like 4 or 5 days, I've been looking at my phone and going, oh my God.
Yeah.
As
it unfolds, sometimes I can't even keep them. Like I'll tell him like something and he doesn't know like the entire like recent past.
But I know the players.
Yeah.
I know the players pretty well.
You know Hillbilly Belinda?
That's another one, man.
That one.
That's such a fake accent too.
It's so fake.
Are people calling her out on that? How fake that is?
Here's the bigger thing, and I understand she's got a lot of viewers. I get that, but she's now completely just crossed into just talking shit about us. And here's the thing: you were on cam the other day, Hillbilly. But you continually talk about people's looks, their weight, their looks, their age, their whatever. And then you got $800 to buy a pair of glasses from Walmart.
What fucking pair of glasses cost $800?
Apparently it was $800 and a riding mower. So you got to give her credit.
Well, okay.
No. The riding mower was a separate thing.
She didn't get them both for $800?
No. She raise money for the other thing. But to me, like, more power to you if you turn your cam on when you finally get brave enough to turn it on. But you can't talk about other people's looks. Do you understand? I'm like, I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna leave it right there, or age.
The number one person for that is that Buns girl.
Oh my God.
Years ago. First time I was introduced to her, I was at Neg's house. And she was doing her little videos, and she had the little bunny rabbit in the wheelchair, and she was, and she had the voice changer. Cute. And it was a pretty good, I think actually her Patreon, I was giving her like $4 a month, something like that.
You said you did it for years before you finally
I found out. I mean, I had to go in there and cancel a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
But and ironically, it was Yaba that called her out. She's fucking hideous, dude. Mm-hmm. I mean, and what makes her hideous is that she is a hideous person.
She's a disgusting
You can have a hideous person that's good looking, and it's like, man, what a bitch. But when you're a hideous person and you're hideous looking,
she found her niche.
She found and then she's cutting and running when people are starting to shovel the shit back on her. It's like,
how many Twitters has she shut down?
I don't know.
A bunch.
The famous line is when she was coming after Mandi and says, I would rather be, and we were like, you're a lot lizard. And
she goes, I would rather, she didn't say anything.
But it was in response to us saying, you're a lot lizard, you're a prostitute. And she said, I would rather be a lot lizard and a prostitute than a home wrecker.
Right, there you go.
And we just kind of paused and went, we wouldn't.
She put
I'd rather be all that,
the bullshit, the C&D bullshit. She said under that thing, that the thread, she was like, they had a whole conversation with her and Sam and Yaba under thing, mm-hmm. And she was like, and she goes, she makes fun of the fact that I was trafficked and whatever, and I literally commented underneath, you're a lot lizard!
Yeah, you are a lot lizard.
I can't help you with that. And I wouldn't call you that, but you're such a mean, miserable, disgusting person.
That was another one that thought it was so much fun, and people started taking shots back at her, and someone shot a mortar round, and it landed, boom, and she was out. She was like, I'm done.
I'm like, you are.
It was whoever it was that said whatever they said to her. I don't know who they contacted or what they did. She was like, okay, I'm out.
Yeah.
I need
But then she was back before.
Yeah, but it's like, God,
look, as a cut and runner,
yeah.
As
a runner,
everyone knows that I've cut and run. I've deleted channels before that now I'm like, God, fuck. I had stuff on there I wanted. But there's a few people that claim to not be cut and runners that do. And when they do, it's epic. She's not one of them because she's done it so many times.
Yeah,
but when one cuts and run, you're like, no. And they're like, I just did it to, like, you cut and run. And that's okay.
It's okay that you did.
If you cut and run,
just say you did.
To save a relationship because your girlfriend changed her status to single on Facebook. So you were like, I'll delete it all. And then you deleted it all. And then the only thing you lost was all your comments on all your shit. But anyways.
I don't think I've ever cut and run. I'll walk away with you.
No, you don't cut and run.
I don't cut and run. It's just, a matter of fact,
and you
it's
also
the opposite.
Don't block people.
I found some old Twitter troll accounts, and I remembered the passwords, but old phone numbers and everything, but they're still suspended. They're like 4 years old.
Sean has never that I know of said anything under this that would get suspended. Like, I've been in Twitter jail, but it was Gerald Jackson.
It was the Gerald Jackson. Remember the Gerald Jackson time?
He's got quite a bit of viewers doing his Jesus
he
thing.
does, as long as he stays out of no, he's doing he's doing like crime stuff, like North Carolina crime stuff.
But the thing that he was good at is he could make a page look like it was an official.
Right, he still does. Thing. It's still I could tell you the page that he has, and give you the name of it, and you go over there, it's news. And his downfall was fucking around with the drama community because
he wanted and he went after, he did go after Telfer, and Telfer sent him completely off the.
He's one.
You got to give credit where credit is due, and she did. She sent him completely off the grid.
And I'm not going to tell the whole story, but he took his channel down because of me.
Yeah.
But
I tried to describe to DC Media about him the other day.
Yeah, he had a picture, an explicit picture of, and he showed it, and he was showing it, he was putting around on his Facebook page while he was under investigation for the things that he did. And those of y'all that don't know him, he called in bomb threats to schools when he was a minor. And
please send super chats and PayPal because they're when I'm monetization.
Right. So
no,
he
I'm
was.
just kidding.
So he was
I'm joking.
So he was, in trouble as a minor,
For saying that.
He was on probation and this and that. So when he got into the fuck shit, they were already. It was easy. The cops were already looking for him. They were looking for a reason to for him to break his probation so that I could send him to jail. And he got what he wanted by coming into the drama community.
And they gave him the most.
So this is what happened to him. So they sent him. He broke probation, so they sent him to jail for I think 90 days. This moron gets out of jail.
The day he
gets out of jail, he's walking down the courtroom steps and threatens an attorney that was used to get, like right there as he's walking. He's a free man, and he comes walking out of the courthouse, and he openly threatens an attorney right there on the courthouse steps, and they put the cops right there and send him right back to jail for like six or 7 more months.
Like he's doing better now.
He steers clear, and he was remarkably entertaining, but he was an idiot. But it seems like that he knows the boundaries. Like, I need to stay away from drama, and establish my niche somewhere else. And he appears that he has. Nobody has a problem with him, it's anymore. He's off doing his thing. It's whatever.
He's doing his own little thing.
If I've heard that every time somebody brings up somebody from around here, he immediately runs.
That's what I'm saying.
And
his dose of it was like,
he's a smart man.
He was like, I'm all about threatening officials and stuff, but this drama community, I ain't fucking with that.
I don't want to mess with the drama community.
But Eleanor wants out. We're going to wrap it up. Storm is asleep on my Ninja food oven still. Remember my Ninja food oven and air fryer that I got for Christmas? I love it to death. It's just not out of the box yet. But I'm going to use it. It's Storm's throne.
And guys, I'm sorry. I haven't even been following the chat. Did you follow the chat?
I did. That's why I brought it.
Usually it's reverse.
Unless it got delayed. But no, I kept closing it and reopening it or whatever. Yeah. But he's off tomorrow.
Yeah. And bottom line is, I don't think I've ever... I only have one YouTube channel, Tomahawk Sean. I still have it.
Yeah. So he can't get any of those other YouTube channels.
And here's this is I can't get my Twitters. I was routinely going for people. I'm just going to delete those again. But but you're not going to get any strikes if you don't have, all I do is vlogs on Tomahawk.
But if you retweet some shit that
retweeted, but I'm talking about on YouTube. And Mandi and I, all the fuck shit we've been in there, we haven't gotten any strikes because we just sit here and do this all the time.
Yeah.
If we want to put...
Let us be boring.
Yeah.
Don't just let us be boring.
If we really wanted to put numbers in the chat, we'd have our friend DC Media on panel again or something like that.
We're going to simul-stream when she reads the transcript.
Really? We should do that.
We are.
But
we're gonna
Tomahawk Sean, I never did a live stream. I never did a review. It's just me... real ego inflating stuff. I just sit there and talk about myself, and so I don't have any strikes.
But when you finally showed, not even before Dr. Phil, when you finally on one of her lives you were seen or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And she said your YouTube name or whatever. The only one you had on there then was your shark tooth collection.
Shark tooth.
That was it. That was the only.
No, my very first video I talked about the Super Bowl that the Falcons blew the 28-3 lead. And that got 9,000 views.
Before the breaks his silence?
I might have done that. I don't know.
No. When the live streams first started, and you were seeing it, whatever, that was the only one you had. And I'm like, this dude's fucking old lady's batshit crazy, and he's showing shark tooth. He's like, this is my Megalodon collection. And I'm like, do you know that your old lady's in the room over there losing her goddamn mind?
This one is a 4 milligram Megalodon tooth.
There's boobs and stuff in the bathroom next to you.
But then, so there was that. So that made me instantly relevant. And then when I left that scene, everyone watched
baseball. Yep.
Everybody watched it when I left.
Hey, Texas Rangers are playing ball.
The Texas Rangers are playing ball. They're playing they're a scary good team.
Yes, you showed your baseball. I think you showed a couple baseball cards in one of your original ones.
Really?
It was the Megalodon teeth, and you were cute. I mean, it was like, hey, he's whatever, and I'm like, it doesn't coincide. But then that was still, and I was like, yeah, it's obviously a soldier or whatever. And then when it was like saying an officer, I was like, yeah, no fucking officer. And then you did that one. I was like, when you did the break to silence, I was like, well, I'll be goddamn, he may be an officer.
And in 3 years.
But she did not seem like an officer's wife. So that's why I was like, it doesn't. And I wasn't an officer's wife. So I don't, but yeah.
And then when I left that situation, I could do a 10-minute vlog and everybody in the world was watching it, It was
and they were like, you're like, I've got a girlfriend and she's in the community. They're like, she's not in the fucking community. You're like, wait for it. And I was like, and you kept saying, it's going to be okay. And I was like, no, Sean, a lot of people don't like it.
Half.
And you were like, no. And I was like, no, Sean, a lot of people don't like it.
And they're all over there, It's like, it's when, Telfer's over there trying to convince hundreds of people in her chat that we were never friends. And anybody that was ever around was like, oh, yeah, y'all were friends. Y'all were friends. Even around people were like, y'all were friends. Y'all were friends. Come on. It's okay that you're enemies now, but.
So in September, we will be married 3 years?
September, yep.
It'll be 3 years, right?
Yeah.
And we've been, I'm bad with dates. In 4 years.
What, September what? What day?
The 18th.
There it is.
My sobriety date is the 14th.
Right.
We got married on the 18th.
I thought your sobriety date was the 16th.
No, 2016.
2016, okay.
Yeah. And then I haven't had a drink since 2012, nor do I want one, because every time I see people hungover, that's the one thing too, is you can tell when people are hungover, like on a Sunday morning, like when you're out and about doing whatever, and someone's in the gas station looking like they got to get it together to go to work, because they figured, why not drink till 5 a.m. and then go to work? Or
they're pumping gas in their car after being discarded by a narcissist, and it's like goddamn. It's like
it's like, I do not miss that, and I didn't realize how often I was hungover. Like, usually a hangover had to meet some criteria before I would say I was hungover, but it turns out I was hungover every day. You know what I mean? And I've heard the older you get, you can't shake it off as easy.
I'm telling you what, there's a few people that I work with every day. They come in and you look at them and you go, why do you do this to yourself?
Because remember, like when you're in your early 20s, late teens or whatever, you're like, I got to be at work at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Cool, so we can drink? Shit. Yeah, as long as I'm in bed by 4, I'm good.
We would drink on Sunday. We would drink till about 2 in the morning, and then we would be in formation at 5 in the morning.
And everybody smells like...
And then we would go run 5 miles and throw up everywhere.
And it would sweat it out.
You'd sweat it out and throw up, and and it wasn't everybody. But it was a lot of us.
And if you were too hungover and you went to sick call to try to say you had gastro issues, then you were really in fucking trouble.
You didn't do that in combat arms.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
You ran. You got into form. It was almost like a rite of passage or it was a thing.
But because if you go in on a Monday morning and say I've got real bad diarrhea or whatever, they'll threaten to give you a blood test right there.
They freaking make you run.
But that's what I mean. They'd be like, "Oh, you got gastro? Yeah, I like, okay, I need you to pee in this cup." And no, so nobody went because it was like
for the alcohol,
because you would still have alcohol in your system. And no, if you're truly sick, let us test your pee. Do a breathalyzer. Do it. No, I'm good. Well, then take your ass to work.
I'll just take the smoking, please.
Exactly.
You had a choice of either paperwork and piss test, or they could just smoke the shit out of you out there for a couple hours, and then all was good.
When Tanner was in basic training, they had worked out this thing at that little shopping mall. He would go run his debit card and they'd buy a pizza, and someone would keep a lookout and they would take it in to the bathroom and they would just devour it. For those who don't know about basic training, you can't have shit like that. They were there to get shaving stuff, and they were supposed to be watched or whatever, but they worked out this system. And then finally the drill sergeant figured out someone snitched, whatever, and he smoked each and every one of them till they all puked, and he could see who had the pizza.
He could see who had the pizza, yeah.
Yeah, and that that was like that, but that you get desperate for just any food that you used to have. But then after it comes out of your system, you go through a flu while you detox.
The whole thing about like if you're in like a basic training environment and you are eating a certain way, you can't just eat pizza.
Exactly.
You can't do that. You get sick. It's like when we were in Iraq. When we were in Iraq, the first I'd say like 9 months, we're eating, MREs or a high carbohydrate food, not a whole lot of fiber, for a reason, because you're outside. They at BIOP, which was the Baghdad International Airport, they brought a Burger King. We built a Burger King there, and it was a thing. Like if you were like a combat support or whatever, and you were on BIOP, you were eating rich food anyway because they had Browning and Root and KBR cafeterias there. They had all kinds of contracted stuff there. But if you were out on a fob like in Sawyer City, out near Sawyer City, like where I was at, and like once every 10 or 12 days, you find yourself in a convoy, like convoy security for a convoy across Baghdad to the Baghdad International Airport, and you had about 2 hours, where you were just sitting there. Mm-hmm. You'd go get a hamburger from, you'd go get a Whopper, and you were sick as shit. Mm-hmm. You enjoyed every bite of it, but it was you shit it right out, But
that's what happens the first week or so you go on a diet. Your body has to come off of that crap that you're used to. Yeah. And speaking of, there's a latte at Dunkin' Donuts called the Turtle Ice Latte. Don't ever drink it because you'll be just one and you'll be addicted.
When I got back from Iraq, so I was home, and I had probably been home 10 days when this happened, but it still wasn't enough. I got to Fort Polk. I went to Atlanta, and then my wife and I at the time, we went to Boston, and the kids stayed with my parents. And we went to Boston because my family's all from New England, upstate New York and Boston and Rhode Island. And so we went to Boston, and the very first thing they did when they picked us up at the at Logan International Airport in Boston is they took us to the North End, it's like a little Italy. It's called the North End in Boston, and I had the richest, the best Italian food that I'd ever had. It was to die for. And it was to die for because it's really good Italian food, and because I'd been in the Middle East for the better part of, for a year and some change, and I ate that, and I was so sick that night.
Like you
so puked? Sick. No, the other way.
Oh, wow.
And it was because my body wasn't used to it. It was just particularly
crazy.
Good food.
Yeah. Jocelyn will probably see the replay of this, and then she'll leave a comment.
I know. Joss, I was at the North End, and you know what that means. It's really good Italian food. If someone told me the name of the place, I would remember it. There's like 3 or 4 really good ones up there.
It wasn't the same one Tanner went to?
No, but there was another one that he mentioned, and it was it.
Oh, okay.
Like Antonelli's or something like that. But anyway.
Yeah, it wasn't Fazoli's.
No.
I wish they had Fazoli's here. Do y'all know what Fazoli's is? Fast food, Italian food. You ready to go?
Let's go. Everyone is
have a good night. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Going down memory lane. Yeah. You see how we started? We had a little drama. Then we got on one for a second, and then we ended up.
Yeah, because eventually you're just like,
it happens.
It is what it is.
It's good times. It's good times.
Don't smear a charity though. Don't ever smear a charity. Y'all have a good day.